People going into the business who never would have gone into food 20 years ago. You know, you have a much, I think because food is getting so much play on things like the Food Network, because so many people are interested in it, because there are so many food celebrities now, a whole new group of people are going into the business with a lot of creativity, a lot of brains, people who could do anything with their lives, and what they want to do is they want to cook.
And that, in essence, is where I think MOFAD fits right in. You know, we're going to try to ride this wave of perhaps superficial or fleeting interest in chefs or food as pop culture, but then to have that lead us into a deeper understanding of the food system.
You need one of these three things. You need like very good credentials, money, or organizational skills. I had none. But I knew I wanted to start this idea. So I worked on it, and I eventually got a job at the French Culinary Institute doing new technologies for chefs. And I took that job to increase my visibility in the food world, which was, you know, somewhat successful, but I got so busy that the museum fell by the wayside for 5 or 6 years until...
Yeah, well, in 2011, Dave decided to move forward the project in earnest. And so the first thing that he did was he organized a fundraiser where he pulled together a lot of his colleagues in the culinary industry to do a fundraiser. And I, at the time, was working as an attorney at a law firm here in the city. So when I saw this, you know, just the name itself, Museum of Food and Drink, was enough to get me really excited about this. And I went to that fundraiser, and I heard Dave talk about his idea for MOFAD. And after that, you know, I thought, well, I really just need to help him in any way I possibly can.
Well, how do you start a food museum? And that to me became the important problem. And I think the way to do it is to start with smaller exhibits where each exhibit is handled the way it would be handled at a large museum, but you don't try to tackle all of food at one time. And that's kind of the genesis of Museum of Food and Drink, of how we started.
3, 2, 1!
Woo!
I think it's critically important to have a Museum of Food and Drink because you look at a lot of the public policy problems right now, and so many of them are linked to food, everything from public health issues to climate change. And when you think about what the solution to that is, I mean, there's a lot of facets to that, but one major part of it is that people need to care more about the food choices that they make, and I think museums are really well suited to do that. We did a Kickstarter campaign and raised over $100,000 online from mostly people we never knew, and we were actually the most highly funded museum in the history of Kickstarter, and that really was an incredible first step.
Now we're going to raise a little over $1 million to do a single full exhibition in a gallery style space. Look for that in a year and a half, then use that, you know, $2 million raise to do the $20-30 million raise, and then use that 40 years from now to do the $200 million raise.
One of the most important aspects of MOFAD is we want to be an independent source of information for people, and under no circumstances do we want to become viewed as a marketing tool for major food companies. And it's not that it's not us passing judgment per se. It's just, you know, we need to have that barrier in order to be able to critically take a look at all aspects of food, including the industrial food system.
One of the things that people don't understand is, what are you going to see at a Museum of Food and Drink? Why does it need to exist? Well, because food, you know, you still need to smell it, you need to touch it, you need to taste it. We're going to be making things, you'll be tasting things, they'll be serving things.
My most memorable food experiences always depended heavily on context. When I think about my most memorable meals, one of them is my first Thanksgiving dinner in Cameroon, you know, where I was with the people in my village and I showed them, I had to find a turkey, which is really hard, but I got a turkey and then using just local ingredients made a sort of reproduction of an American Thanksgiving meal, and to show people in my village that, I mean, the food quality probably wasn't that great, but it was meaningful because I was showing them a piece of who I am. And of course, we do both love Italian food.